Hello everyone.
Today's video is for anyone who has a locking neck guitar that might be hanging on the wall or in a corner, and you just don't really want to mess with it anymore because, well, it's a locking neck guitar and you have to loosen the neck, tune it, lock the neck, tune it again, and when the strings break, you have to cut the ends off and clamp them into the Floyd Rose. So, yeah. I had gotten to the point with mine, well, I sold one. I decided I did not enjoy messing with the Floyd Roses anymore, so I sold the nice one that I could get some money for. Had really nice Rhodes, but I have a really old, well, I think it's a 1999 Jackson Dinky, and I've been tinkering with it for a little over a decade probably. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to tell the story of one Jackson Dinky, yeah, and the evolution that has recently got me to playing it again. Yeah, so there she is. You may recognize this guitar from the Put P90s in a Jackson Dinky video. I went through a phase where I was way more impressed with the sound of the P90s than humbuckers, so my humbucker started disappearing. This actually had a really nice Seymour Duncan labeled with the big bolts on top of it pickup in it, but it sounded terrible. It sounded really dull, in comparison to the P90 on my Les Paul. So that's why this happened, and I've only just recently gotten obsessive compulsive about studying guitar setup, and it's possible, I don't remember for sure, but it's actually possible maybe that pickup was just way too low in the guitar, and I was so frustrated with it I threw it in the garbage, so it's probably could have been a $300 Seymour Duncan pickup. Also, I cut the wires too short on it to reuse it, so I wanted to have plenty of wire for my pickup change. So rant and rave about that, if you will. Could have been solely out of ignorance that a really good Seymour Duncan might have disappeared from this guitar, but I really do enjoy the sound of the PAF size Seymour Duncan or P90 that I did put in this. I definitely like it way better than the way the humbucker sounded that I took out of it. Yeah. And this was kind of a garage find. My son found this in a friend's garage. And the neck on it, I don't know if something was laying on it, but there was a kink in the top of the neck. It was just bent back a little bit to where, to get the first few frets not to buzz, you had to set the action really high on it. Also, the Floyd Rose was shot. It had a bunch of different random screws in it. It was all beat up. And it was, not level. And the screws in the studs wore really badly to where they were tilted forward, and But also I have since learned how to actually level a Floyd Rose with the tension, which when I first started messing with this, I didn't understand any of that. I didn't get how you leveled it. I just thought that because these studs were shot, it was cocked up, and it was better when I changed them. But I think the light bulb came on when I installed this new one. And this is not a Floyd Rose or a licensed Floyd Rose. It's just some China Floyd Rose copy. When I was installing this, I figured out. Actually, what I did when I was installing it is I added a spring. I still didn't know about screwing the screws in on it to set the tension. But yeah. So by adding I think this has 4 springs in it. Yeah, it does. It has 4 springs. And that's how I got it set. I don't know that I've even messed with it since then. I got it to where it was perfectly level. I don't know if I figured out, to tweak it with the screws or not at that time. But anyway, it sits in there when it's tuned perfectly level. And the action is very low on this, very nice. And my solution for the locking neck is and this particular China neck, I had to get a replacement for the, before mentioned kink in the original neck, which, loosening the truss rod helped it, but that kink never really fully came out of it. So I finally just, bought, I seen this nice China Jackson neck on Amazon one day. It's got really nice binding on it. So it's probably, be a pretty high-end Jackson neck actually. And I also have a suspicion that a lot of times when these necks come up for sale on Amazon as replacement necks, they're probably a flawed neck for, a Chinese manufacturer that's actually making these necks for, say, Jackson or Fender or whatever. Because there's always one little thing wrong with them. This particular neck is perfect except for one low fret. It just has one low fret under 2 strings. The rest of the neck is perfect. Perfectly level. And the action is very, very low. And so the solution I came up with for making me want to play this daily is to remove the locking and put a graphite nut on it, a Gibson style graphite nut, which fits this neck really well. I mean, this neck actually might have been made to where you could put this type of a nut on it, or because when I had the locking nut on it, I had to shim it up. It was too deep. I had to shim it up, a little over 32nd to get the height right. And yeah, so this particular aftermarket neck, the Gibson style nut fits it pretty well, and it gives you a lot of room. I mean, I've got when I filed this to get the action nice and low, the strings are very deep in it, which is good because you got this odd string angle coming out of it, so it really helps. And then I use the graphite nut to help with the loss of tuning stability. And I'm a big fan of tremolos. I really like the Fender style tremolos on Strats. So basically that's how I run this. So it's got a Floyd Rose on it, but I'm not dive bombing it. So I just, basically using it like it's a Strat with a Strat tremolo on it, you know, and just not getting crazy with it, you know, because obviously it's not going to be as tune stable without the locking neck. But it's a lot more fun to tune and play this on a regular basis and not have to fight the locking neck. So I thought I would share that with everyone, see if, you know, maybe someone's got one hanging on the wall that they just don't want to mess with anymore for the same reason. This is an idea to maybe, you know, get this baby back in your rotation for playing regular. And then the gap between the truss rod adjustment cap and the nut, I put a little piece of material in there as a dampener, which a lot of people will do that to dampen. They don't like the resonance of this style of neck anyway, so this actually serves a purpose other than just covering the gap between the truss rod and the truss rod cover. It's also like a dampener. Yeah, I was messing with this and I was like, God, what am I going to have to cut a piece of plastic to stick in there? And then I saw someone that had a piece of material in there. So it's like, oh, you know, using it as a dampener to dampen this style of heads, you know, strings. And yeah, so yeah. Yep. And then, you know, as another little, you know, something to get you out of your funk or whatever, maybe try a little P90 action in there too. They make PAF size P90s. Has a really neat, interesting sound. I'm going to leave this how it is just because I have plenty of other guitars that have humbuckers in them. And I think it's kind of cool how this is probably the last guitar you would ever see with a P90 in it, which I think makes it kind of neat. Alright, so yeah, I'll just I'll play it a little bit so you can kind of get an idea what it sounds like. And that's it. Just a little, you know, a little something for anyone who maybe wants to get that locking neck guitar off the wall. And yeah, this is what worked for me. And now I'm playing this again instead of just looking at it. Also, another really interesting thing about the serial number on this guitar, it is, the first two numbers are 99, so I assume it's a 2099, and the last three numbers are 666, so whether that is just coincidence or anybody knows whether there's anything significant about that serial number, be sure to let me know. And yeah, plug your ears for just a second because this is really scratchy. Oh, that wasn't too bad. I'm getting the scratchiness worked out of the volume. It's got a real Mike Ness sound coming out of a Jackson. It's kind of cool, huh? And that's about how intense I get with the tremolo anyway, so I don't really need the whole dive bomb locking neck setup. So yeah. Hours and hours of fun there. So that I would share my new resurgence of dinky interest. Maybe get someone else's dinky off the wall or out of the corner. That's all for now. Thank you. And later.